Hello. Alright, I'm trying to get this situated. Good morning, good morning. I literally just rolled out of bed. I thought that I'd do a fun little Facebook Live this morning. Hello, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Phil. Thought I'd do like a fun little Facebook Live just because I have people that ask me all the time. I'm so groggy right now. Ooh, I know, sunshine, right? I need to join you, Phil, at your ninja gym because that would probably wake me up a little bit better. But I have people that ask me all the time since I work from home full time. Good morning, Chris. Chris the handyman. Get me all fixed up over here at my house. They ask me, what do you do from home full time that you can work full time from home? And I mean, it's kind of a complicated question for sure. Good morning, Jonathan. Oh, I haven't talked to you in a while. I haven't gotten a hug in a while, actually. I'm a hot mess right now. I literally just rolled out of bed. Yeah. Oh, I love it, Jeremy. Okay, so Jeremy's kind of on that track that I am. Oh, and here's Sophia. If anybody likes kitties. Oh, kitty, come on, kitty. Oh, come here. If anybody likes kitty babies. This is Sophia. She was a rescue. She's adorable. But I love it, Jeremy. You say you shower, you wake up the kids, you coffee, you breakfast, brush your teeth, and out the door. That's kind of awesome. I like that. Now, I chose not to go the kids' route, so I don't have any kids that I have to wake up. And my mom, adopted like 5 million kids from the area, so they all live with her, so I don't have to worry about waking up any kids or anything like that. Just roommates. But when you work from home, there's definitely a discipline issue where you have to try to make yourself adhere to a routine of some sort so that you don't miss things. I'm not going to lie, every morning, and I really should just keep my planner upstairs, but every morning I wake up and I try to get downstairs by 8. Actually, I try not to plan anything before 8 so that I don't miss anything, but I rush downstairs to my planner to make sure that I haven't missed anything, to make sure that I'm not already late to something. I just really hate getting up early. I really hate getting up early. You see these, look at this. These are bags, the beginnings of bags, just because I'm tired. Like, I'll work late and I just hate getting up early. And Phil, I see you wake up, you do 10 push-ups. Or are you telling me to wake up and do 10 push-ups, 10 pull-ups? I don't have anything to do pull-ups on. I can't pull my butt up on any pull-ups. I cannot do a pull-up. I've tried. I cannot do a pull-up. The squats thing, I can do those all day. I got buns of steel. And sit-ups, all right, okay. I see what you're saying. Because that routine looks a little light for you. I think you could push out a lot more. But anyway, so my morning routine always starts with this rush downstairs to see what my schedule is like for the day. So I rush downstairs, I grab my schedule, and I'm like, okay, what in this craziness, what starts first? Thankfully today I did not schedule anything until about 10, which is nice because it gives me time to look at my customers that need help, maybe needed help throughout the night, and I just wasn't awake to help them. So I do a couple of different things. Most of you know that I do voiceovers and I do music. I actually sell my voice across the world. I also do pet sitting, which was a complete accidental business. It was just friends. It started out just friends that really needed a vacation, and they had, pets that were kind of too old to go along, and it was just too much for them. So, they call me and they're like, hey, can you hang out with our pet while we go on vacation? Because, they're too old to fly, or they're too old to take a 10-hour car ride or anything like that. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Absolutely. I wish I could see who is liking this, by the way. It gives like this super small picture of whoever is liking this video, so I can't actually tell who's liking. So I apologize if you're liking this and I can't tell who. But I do see that Linda joined. I'm going to sneeze. Okay, maybe not. And Kathy and Stephanie, you guys are awesome. I love it. Um, but uh, but yeah, so pet sitting is my second, and then my third is customer remote support. All right. Reason what even made me think about this morning is as I started a Judy. Very cool. Good morning, Judy. I can only imagine, Judy, what your morning routine is. I bet it's probably pretty regimented. Um, Judy's been regaling me with some cool stories of some amazing things that she has dedicated herself to over the years, including bodybuilding, if I'm not mistaken, which is just really really neat. I actually can't wait till another lunch because I want to hear more about kind of that life that you were part of, which, wow, that would be really crazy. I mean, I definitely understand that would mean eating in a way that I definitely don't eat right now, and what do they call it? Micro counting or something like that. So you're looking at exactly how many calories and how much protein's going into your body. Whew, girl, I couldn't do it. I admire you. And I see, ooh, Dave, 6 a.m. Listen, when I did radio, 6 a.m. would have been a blessing. But getting up at, wow, that's still early. I'm really grateful I don't have to do that anymore. Oh my gosh. And Chase grandkids. Your grandkids are in the house? Oh, bless your heart. And Stephanie, you wake up, you work out. That's what I need to do. I would probably make my trainer a lot happier if I would wake up and work out. Forgive me. I have early morning stuffy nose. I've been a little, just slightly sicker the last couple of days. Taking me to daycare. See, everybody with kids, your morning has got to be crazy. How do you ever have quiet households again when you have kids? I'm going to guess you don't. I'm going to guess it is just crazy from the get-go. Oh gosh, and sleeping in? That's probably just not a thing when you're a parent, is it? So anyway, forgive me. So I start my morning by rushing downstairs, trying to make sure that I'm not already late for something. I definitely, yeah, I believe it. David, Stephanie, that's so funny. David and Stephanie both say that you don't sleep in when you have kids. So I'm going to enjoy this while it lasts, for sure. But yeah, rush down, make sure that I'm not already late for something, make sure I don't need to get a quick shower and get my hair all done and set for the day in case I have meetings, because typically what my day looks like is I try to fit in my customer support questions. You know, I offer customer support to places like LinkedIn, to places like Rover, to a really cool new company that I added last year called Conveyor. So if you're like an author, a speaker, and you have these courses or these things that you want to teach, or courses that you want people to take, Conveyor is a really awesome community. You can set that up to not only engage your community, but you can also grow your community and challenge your community based on what you're talking about, what you're teaching. It's actually really awesome. So yes, Stephanie, we need to do lunch. Absolutely. So I try to get that stuff out of the way because sometimes you get questions during the night while you're sleeping. Thankfully, customers are usually pretty understanding, which is really awesome. But my day is super fluid. I love it. All the hearts. I love it. Thank you so much. My day is super fluid. Like, it is basically a Tetris game for a schedule. And that means tickets in the morning and customers who need help, and then meetings. Well, Richard, that's actually exactly what I'm getting to, Rick. Sometimes I drop the ball on things because I don't have the time to think about as many things as I should, because my day is a Tetris game. And sometimes I drop things. I really try not to. That's why I have this schedule, because I would drop a lot more things. I try to get it out of my head and onto paper so that I can fit as many things as I can. I want to show you something that I'm working on to try to make my life a little bit easier. Let me turn this. Some of my awesome house. This is what I have on my refrigerator. I have goals for my community, goals for my music, which I am going to focus this year on. Prince. Yeah, I know you don't have quiet. Voiceover goals, pet sitting, my own brands that I'm hoping to, obviously I'm rebranding this year, which is why you see me blonde. House repairs. Okay, I have a lot of house repairs. So thankfully I have, hopefully, Chris Wortham and Brady Schroeder who are going to be helping me knock that list out. But that is kind of like my own physical Trello board. If you don't know what Trello is, you should check it out. You can Google it. It is Trello. Some people work really well with online. Obviously, most of my business is done online. Some people work much better with paper. I'm a combination. I'm a combination between online tools and physical tools, which is why I don't use an online calendar yet. I mean, I've tried a couple times. It's not for lack of trying, but that's why I have the paper, okay? And that's why, I have a Trello board, but it is mostly just for work stuff. And so I've created that physical board that I can look at and I can remove Post-it notes and when things are accomplished and kind of mark them as done. I'm a to-do list girl. I'm totally a to-do list girl. It just makes my life easier if I can go check, 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 check. All right, my list is done. And I know it's a recognized characteristic of mine that I am trying to work with instead of working against. And I think that is one of a couple of big things that if you want to work from home or if you just want to be a better, or if you want to enjoy a better work life, there's just some things that you have to recognize about yourself, ways that you work better, ways that you definitely can improve. You just have to be really open and really honest with yourself and say, okay, maybe I really can't use an online calendar, and that's okay. That just means I'm going to carry my schedule with me everywhere. Or maybe you look at yourself and you're like, okay, I am really no good at typing. I am really no good with apps and that kind of thing. So I'm going to work on, and whatever. You can set whatever paper system you want in place. But also recognize, I try to remind myself every day that you can adjust, you can grow, you can actually learn new tools. You can definitely teach an old dog new tricks, which is what I've done to be working from home full time as it is. I've taught myself new skill sets. I have another major question that people have asked me all the time that it's kind of part of my morning routine, but it's not an everyday thing for me. And that is looking at areas of my life where there's needs. It's looking at parts of my life where things aren't where I would like them to be. And I look at that, and instead of saying, oh, well, that's just the way it's going to be forever, I look at it and I say, okay, I'm kind of lacking in this area. I'm struggling in this area. This is really, this is not what I want it to be. And it could be, I'm trying to think of something recently I did that in. Budgeting. Budgeting was something I recently had to look at lately. And I looked at it and I said, okay, what I'm doing is not working. It's not that it's not working. Obviously, I am debt free, except for my self-employment taxes every year, and my mortgage. But I think even Dave Ramsey says that's considered good mortgage. But whatever. I had to look at that and I had to say, okay, this paper system that I was trying to do before and I fell off the wagon for, paper budgets are not working for me. So I had to look online, and I did Googling and I did research, and I looked into people who maybe experience similar things, who also are entrepreneurs, also run their own businesses and work from home, and looked at what tools are they using? What is their routine? Where do I have to jump off from? And so after looking at that, I stumbled across a really cool online budget tool that I love. It'll sync with your bank account. It'll sync with your credit cards. It'll sync with your mortgage, which is really awesome. So that means automatically you've got this online screen, and it also an app, which is really cool. And you can automatically suck in any income that's hit your bank account, and you can pull it into these lines. So their basic idea is the same as Dave Ramsey. You give every dollar a job. So you basically pull every dollar into one of your budget lines, and you don't touch it unless you're taking it from a specific budget line and you have the money in that budget line to take. So anyway, so that was one of the things that I did recently, where I had to look at my life and say, okay, I'm not doing something really efficiently. I'm not doing something really well. And good morning, Fred and Ashley. I see. Oh my gosh. Fred, you get up way too early. Oh my, and Ashley, you know what though, Ashley, you're like halfway an entrepreneur and halfway, because I know you still work for somebody. But you mostly do stuff for yourself. Good morning, Frank. Now, Frank, you think you work from home full time, don't you? Stephanie, thank you so much. Yes, I will text you about, actually, I'm going to put it in my calendar right now to call you somewhere in here. Okay, you know what? I'm going to call you down here, okay? Call Stephanie, schedule lunch. I love it. And then, oh yeah, Phil. Yes, Phil, absolutely. Budget. So do what I did, Phil. And bye, Stephanie, by the way. Bye. Do what I did, Phil. Just, Google, find something that works for you. I wish that I could recommend specific tools, but I know your overhead looks different than mine. Your needs, you may be a paper guy, I don't know. And just, oh gosh, be open to change. Be absolutely open to growing, because not everybody is, and it kills your business. I saw something really cool the other day by Gary, I cannot pronounce his last name, but he's an entrepreneur as well. He actually loves the game of, excuse me, he loves the game of just growing businesses. It's not even necessarily making the money that is a huge deal to him. It is just growing the businesses. It's this mastermind game to him of, hey, what needs can I meet, and can I build a business to meet those needs? And I love his stories. If you look at his track record and his roadmap from the years of things that he's grown, businesses that he started, that's just so kind of incredible. And he talks even about a wine company that he had opened, and he was shipping all over. And he was talking about how and we get in this, for some reason, we get in this rut where we think that people owe us. People owe us to support us in business. People that the country owes us to let us open whatever business we want, and that they owe us that that business has to succeed, that we're owed that, we deserve that. And Gary's point was that when he had opened this wine business, he was trying to ship into Texas, and the way that he had, part of his game, was trying to figure out, okay, what's the lowest price point that I can sell for? What can I still make a profit? How can I grow this business and compete with other businesses? Well, the other businesses got scared, and it really bothered them that he wasn't there, that he was undercutting them, and that he was successful. So they pulled together their resources, they talked to the state, and the state sent Gary a letter that said, you are no longer able to sell your wine in Texas. And, I'm watching this video, and Gary's, talking through this, and he's saying how stunned he was and how surprised he was, but that he had to realize that nobody cares about your feelings. Just because you want your business to succeed, it doesn't mean that you don't deserve to have to work hard, that you don't deserve to have to overcome obstacles. If you really want something, it's going to be hard. You're going to come across closed doors. You're going to come across open doors that you're going to need to have the courage to take. You're not going to have all the knowledge that you need to know whether or not you should take it. And that's okay. You deserve to have to work hard for that. You deserve to have to sweat for that. You deserve to have to roll the dice, no matter which way it falls. That's right, Phil. You do always got to put in the work. And it's so true. I come across people that ask me all the time, hey, how can I do what you're doing? Frank, you probably come across this all the time too. People come up and they say, how do I do what you're doing? How do I work from home full time? And I for a while I was in this point where I was like, okay, here's what I did. Here's all these steps. All you got to do is at least just start down the path. You can figure out your own way because I figured out my own way. And, let's meet at some point when you get to like taxes and when you get to figuring out your overhead and your budget and that kind of thing. And I get so excited because I think, here I am giving you all these steps that I took to get here. And do you know what they're actually asking me? Do you know what they're actually looking for? They're not actually asking for the formula of how I got where I got. No, they want to know, how can I get there quickly and skip the work that you put in? How can I piggyback off of all that hard work that you put in and jump in where you're at right now? And it took me a little while of some discouraging conversations to realize that people weren't really asking me how they could work from home full time. People weren't really curious how to start their own business. People weren't actually wondering how to find their passion and turn it into profit. And it was just, I don't know, it was so discouraging to me because this whole process of finding these passions and finding these skill sets and finding these needs and creating businesses around them, it's so exciting to me. Maybe I don't have the passion that Gary does that I was talking about earlier, where he just loves the game of figuring out businesses. Maybe I don't quite have that passion, but I really enjoy finding these needs and creating solutions to them and turning those into businesses. It's exciting to me. It's really fun. And even though there's things like self-employment taxes that totally is a buzzkill, the rest of it is actually really exciting. And it is so discouraging when people, they don't care about that part. They don't care about the journey. They just want that easy, quick jump in fix of, hey, how can I start making your kind of money now without any of the journey, without even taking those first couple steps. The yuck, Phil. Exactly. Without the yuck. But here's the secret. You want to know the secret to being an entrepreneur and working from home? Is you've got to be just as accepting of the yuck as you are of the yay. You have to be just as excited about the muck that you are going to have to wade through, the uncomfortableness that you have to get through, as you are about the end result. We have this misconception that if something makes us uncomfortable, that it's wrong. That is not true. Just because something makes you uncomfortable, it means that you've got to push back. You've got to dig in your heels. If something makes you uncomfortable, it doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it bad. Maybe it just means that you need to hold still for a minute, check it out. Decide, okay, this is kind of bugging me. Why is this bugging me? Is it because I don't like this? Is it because I don't like this? And you know what the awesome thing is? If you don't like something, change it. That is one of the cool things that I enjoy about being an entrepreneur, is that if I don't like something, I can change it. I am not bound by a boss who's telling me, hey, things have to be done just like this. And we know in business, that's just not the way that it works. In business, you have to constantly be creative. You have to be changing. You can't be content in just one rut. Yeah, there's definitely some things that work continuously. But for the most part, in business, especially small businesses, especially as an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to change and compromise and reevaluate over and over again your constant tools. You have to be willing to constantly reevaluate your workspace, your work ethics, your schedule. You have to be willing to reevaluate your customers. You have to be willing to look at your customers and say, okay, I'm either not charging enough or I'm making myself too available. And you have to look at them and say, okay, I might have to fire a customer today. I might have to sit down and have that conversation, that hard conversation, that may be an uncomfortable conversation, that conversation that I really don't want to have. But again, just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's bad. I really, I know that's a blocker that a lot of people are hitting if they have even asked questions about being a small business owner, if they've asked questions about being an entrepreneur. It's that uncomfortableness that stops people and makes them go back to that 9 to 5. And so, if you have been one of those that have asked me, okay, yeah, how can I work from home? Well, you know what? Just write down somewhere on a Post-it note, just because it makes me uncomfortable doesn't mean it's bad. And think about that. Megan, David, thank you. You guys are so awesome. Thank you for even watching. And sometimes I'm not really great at words. This is why I love music, because I can sing things that I just can't convey. And I'm really hoping that I'm getting across here my morning routine of my Tetris game of my schedule that helps get me going throughout the day. But more than anything, I hope I'm conveying how this is not easy, but it's fun. I love it. I absolutely love it. Joe, that's so true. Joe Jones, with the Steam Doctor, he gets like paint out of carpet, which is incredible. But he says, charge too low and you can be busy, just not make any money. And that's really true. And a little side note when it comes to charging too low and being too busy. Actually, in each one of my business models, I've actually started out charging too low because I wanted to hone my skills first before I marketed. So I wanted to make sure that I had something that was marketable before I actually charged industry standard rates. So I actually took everything and really had to adjust my rates over time as I reevaluated. Oh, thank you, Judy. Thank you very much. As I looked at my different business models as they were growing, and actually like 2 of them keep growing out of my control. I have more than I can handle, which is, I love it, but it is crazy. And it's so hard to teach someone to think this way. And I was chatting with one of my old college roommates, Raven, who is working towards becoming an entrepreneur as well, working towards full-time work as well at home. And she was saying that she's so right that there's the entrepreneurial mindsets, and then there's the 9 to 5 mindsets. And then it sounded so harsh when I first heard it. I thought, no, anybody can get into the entrepreneurial mindset. But I kept thinking about those conversations that I've had over the last couple months of people who are like, hey, I see you're doing such awesome things. I see you're having so much fun. How do I do what you're doing? And I, put my excitement into all those awesome things and all that awesome work that I've done. And I just see, and it's probably because I'm not explaining it well to them, but I just see that excitement on their end fizzle out, because then they see the work. They see the work that goes into building a business, into learning customer service skills, into learning about taxes, into learning about how to set up your home so that you have business space and so that you have personal space, and learning how to invoice, and learning how to manage your own schedule, learning how to network with people, not for business, but networking so that you can be part of your community. And yes, things spin off from there, but that's not the basis of networking. Networking is so that you can put back what you've gotten. Being part of your community is so you can give back what they've given to you, whether you agree that it was all good or not. Again, being uncomfortable is not always a bad thing. Oh, Kylan, I just saw you. I'm so sorry. Wish I could build my own business by doing photography. Kylan, you absolutely can. You absolutely can. I really hope I didn't lose you. I hope you're still there, Kylan. When it comes to, and you know what? I'm just going to put this formula out there that I've given to people who have asked me, and maybe I'm going to see the light go out of y'all's eyes too. But I'm telling you that if you just hang in there, if you just buckle down and push through the uncomfortableness, that there is a way for you to make money and grow that by doing things that you love, skill sets that you love. But here's the thing. You've got to be willing to look at your industry. Okay, good. Yay. Okay, and Kylan, I totally get that. I totally get that. That there's a lot of competition with photography. But here's the thing. There's different kinds of photography. Actually, this is true, and this is part of my formula. There is different kinds in that field, and not just in that field, in voiceover, in pet sitting, in, oh gosh, I mean, in anything. There's different segments. It's those fields. It isn't just one big umbrella. Under that umbrella, you have all these chairs, you have all these tables, you have all these different branches that are housed under this. Okay, so we'll take photography for example. Photography, Kylan, is a really amazing business. Okay, I love it. Mike, I haven't talked to you in forever. Mike is also an old college buddy. Not old, I'm sorry, a previous college buddy. Micah, you are forever young. But let's take photography for a moment and look at it this way, okay? Bunch of different branches. There's newborn photography. There's engagement pictures and wedding photography. There's horror, actually, photography. There's people that specialize in being able to catch those darker lights, the dusk and dawn shots, and I don't know as much about the industry as I should because it's not my field. But I know a little bit just because I have branded myself, and actually I'm rebranding myself this year, but in trying to find out how I can get the best shots for things or who I can use in the industry for specific things. You know, I've looked at photography and saw, okay, you know, this person would be an excellent person to grab for this specific shoot because they brand themselves as a horror photographer, or they brand themselves as a band photographer, which means they're amazing at catching live shots. Musicians in motion. Kylan, you got to look at what are your strengths when it comes to photography. Is it landscapes? Is it people? Are you good at capturing those emotions? And once you take a look at the broad picture and you focus on what you are good at, which is what I've done with each one of my little business models. And keep in mind, I don't want you to think I'm doing anything big. I'm not. These are all small business models. They thankfully come together to make one big umbrella for me, so that I can work at home full time. But once you get a chance, Kylan, to look at, good morning, Don. Good morning, Dave Belton. But once you look at that, you hone in on your specialty, you hone in on your skill set, then you brand it. Kylan, you know, say you love shooting newborns, you brand that as Kylan the baby shooter. No, that's not a good one. The baby photo bomber, or something like that. If you know you're terrible at branding like I am, or coming up with gimmicks of what you could brand yourself as, then you sit down with friends and you sit down with other people in business and you treat them to a large pizza and a game night or something, and you ask them, hey, this is what I'm good at. I really want to brand myself this way. What do you think I should call myself? Open it up to people that you love, that you trust, that know you, or maybe just open it up to people who are in business, who maybe have been around branding before. Because why that's so important is you're going to, even though photography is a large umbrella, you're going to tap a small portion of that, and you're going to say, hey, I specialize in this. There may be people that say they handle all this, but I have put my time and I've put my effort into this slice right here. So, you know, if you're looking for this, you're going to want to get me. Yeah, these people do photography, but they do, you know, they focus on educating themselves on all these other areas. They may not know some of the newest things that I know because I specialize in this. I keep up on the industry. I have the latest equipment that will help me in this specific area. That is what I mean by branding. I hope that helps, Kylan, because once you brand yourself, then you grow yourself. You go out there and you network. You put yourself in your community and you give back to your community and you meet people through that. And you take those contacts that you've made, you follow up on them. You give your word and then you keep it. and you continue to grow from there. It does take a little bit when you're initially growing. Thank you, Micah. You are awesome. And Phil, I am not familiar with that at all, but I'm going to have to look it up after this. But once, oh, I completely lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh. But once you've had a chance to brand yourself and you've gotten this niche market and you've started to grow yourself by putting yourself out there, investing yourself in your community, investing yourself in other small businesses. And this goes back to the low rates that I was telling you about. You may have to start out with some lower rates just at first. Keep a full-time job, the 9 to 5 that you got to on the side. This is where some of that hard work comes in. You got to make yourself familiar with your industry. You got to make yourself familiar with industry terms, with industry equipment. Like, you have got to know your stuff. You can't just expect or demand people to hire you because you love what you're doing. No one owes you that. Absolutely no one owes you that. What they owe you is to make you work, is to help you hone your business. So keep those rates low at first until you figure out how to do business well. This will also keep you in a small market until you have a formula down. Once you have that formula down for, okay, I know that I can manage this. I know I can manage these problems that come up and still come across as a good business person, as good people. Because sometimes we make a lot of mistakes when we're figuring out a business. That's okay. But in today's world of social media, keep in mind, you can get crucified real easily. Even for simple, honest mistakes that can be completely spun out of control and out of proportion on social media. So starting in a small market, starting with small rates is a great idea. That way you can figure out what are your common mistakes in the industry, what are your common solutions, and can I handle myself with grace when something happens? And if you can figure out that formula in a small market, then you're ready to take that structure and put it and grow it. Put it into a little bit bigger market and a little bit bigger market and raise your rates just a little more and then raise it just a little more and then raise it just a little more until either you're at industry standard or you're competing and undercutting your competition and keeping yourself competitive, keeping yourself relevant. That, Kylan, is how you can grow your photography. And that's actually what I did with my voiceover. Because I found a niche market as a female. Actually, if you think about it, if you listen, don't listen to local TV because all you'll hear is me. But if you listen to other TV and radio, you'll hear there's a lot of male voices. So being a female in the industry, I could have looked at that as, I really love this, and why can't there be more females in the industry? This is just crap. This is discrimination that there's not enough women in the business. And instead of being a crybaby whiny butt, I looked at that and I said, awesome, here's a niche market for me. Here is some place where I can completely fit in. I can give a trusting, matronly, motherly, and not annoying motherly voice that a man may not be able to give. I could voice a Gerber commercial, whereas a man may not have the same chance that I do. Because he can't give the level of trust that I can in a voice, the level of compassion sometimes, or just the soft, soothing tones a female can convey. I cannot stress that enough, that idea of crybaby whiny butt. I can't stress that idea enough of not being a crybaby whiny butt. Just because something does not look like an open door to you, it doesn't mean that anyone owes you a pity party. So, and so I've taken that formula with pet sitting and pet sitting just kind of went completely out of my control. That was a need that I didn't even realize was in the area and I was filling, and then people started telling people, and because they're awesome, they're amazing, and it gave me a chance to grow. And it gave me a chance to figure out the business and what works and what didn't, like on a small scale before all these people started asking. It was just awesome. And then with remote support, that's probably my newest thing. That would be in the last 2 years that I've been doing that. And again, I just got lucky. I just got blessed that I didn't cry, I didn't whine when something didn't go the way as easily as I hoped it would. And instead, I buckled down. I figured out what mistakes I was making and still making. Absolutely. I mean, I'm definitely still making mistakes in my businesses every day. But I am learning to handle them with grace. And I'm learning to bounce back, that mistakes are okay. And just because someone crucifies you on social media doesn't mean that, you got to lay down and take it. I mean, maybe not necessarily, you don't have to be like me and respond to everything. But, you can take it with a grain of salt, look at it, decide how much truth is in it, and take that truth and soak it into your business, soak it into your practices, soak it into your structure, and then move forward with it. If it's valid. If it's not, shake it off, in the words of Taylor Swift. Shake it off, and move forward. Because there's the real possibility that you're doing something that they are telling themselves they are incapable of doing. And it bums them out. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. But that's a real possibility for people to come down on you on social media because you're living something that they wish they could. You're doing something that someone told them they were incapable of doing. So when you come across people that come down on you hard, I am learning, and I'm trying to keep this firmly in mind, that it has more to do with them than it does you. So if you know that you're doing something that you love and that it's not wrong, if it's something that is legal and okay, but maybe it's a little outside of the box, then don't stop. I mean, just because someone tells you you can't do something doesn't mean that they're right. They could be wrong. You don't know. I posted something the other day, and I'm going to end with this. How awesome would it be if people went into some kind of action or some kind of business or some kind of plan without having any idea what their limitations were? Think about that. If you went into like Kylan or like Ashley, if you went in like Ashley, if someone like Ashley goes into pet sitting and has no idea of their limitations, what could she offer that I'm not thinking about? What could she offer as a business? What could she do with creative business, with creative marketing that, I tell myself that I don't know anything about marketing. I tell myself that I don't know anything about making brochures or flyers or online digital marketing. And so I limit myself. So I don't, there's things that I don't even try because I've told myself that I'm no good at it. But what if somebody like Ashley goes in and she's like, I wonder, am I really? Do I know how to do this? Can I figure this out? I love it. I love the idea of that. So think about that. You got 2 things to put on Post-it notes this week. And one of them is that just because it's uncomfortable, it doesn't make it wrong. Just because it makes me uncomfortable, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with it. And 2, and I love that, Joey, aim for the stars. I absolutely love that. That's so true. Aim for the stars. What could you do if you had no idea what limitations were in place? What could you do? Think about that this week. And on that note, it is time for me to take a shower. And it is time for me to eat breakfast because my tummy is rumbling and I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to hear it really soon. So listen, those business thoughts, I hope you guys are having an amazing morning. Kathy! Kathy's in Florida. I'm pet sitting her babies right now. All right. I will talk to you all later. If you guys have any business questions or just small, obviously I am no expert, but I love what I do. And if I don't know, I would love to hear a question that I don't know the answer to because maybe I need to know the answer. Maybe someone needs to ask me the question so that I can figure out what the answer is. I don't know. Kathy, when are you coming back, by the way? Is it tomorrow? I can't remember. Just so you know, your kitty baby misses you guys. My lovin' is on thin ice right now, I think, with that little kitty baby. She's been very talkative. I love it. But anyway, All right, so Kathy's going to enjoy her Florida getaway. And for the rest of y'all, yes, aim for the stars. Please do not sell yourselves short. Do not tell yourselves you have limits that you don't have. And you can do this. Try to push through the uncomfortableness. Try to push through the idea that this hard work is scary. If you really love something, oh my gosh, try it. What do you have to lose? You're already going through pain not doing things that you love, right? So why not get something from that pain? Do something that maybe makes you uncomfortable because it's hard. Do something because it's tough, and get something from that pain. Get something from that uncomfortableness. You never give up. I love that, Phil. Never give up. Never give up. And even I have to remind myself that. Last thought, I swear. I used to have an old boss that would tell me all the time he hated how inspirational I tried to be. He hated how positive I tried to be. That it bugged him to no end. But I tell you what, reason that I am that way is because I need it. It is for myself. And I started realizing a couple years ago that some people were in the same spot as me, where they get, maybe they hit those high lows, and they need things like that the way I do to pull them out and keep them back up on that high, to get them back up on that horse, to remind them that it is okay to be sad, but that it's time to get back up, and that it's time to do work. All right, so I'll see you guys, because I gotta get to work.